Funny how we think the key to happiness is being thin, so we throw our happiness away in search of the key. Anonymous anorexia sufferer.
It is now recognized that over 10 million people now suffer with eating disorders, a growing proportion of them young men. I want to read you a story that will appear in your book, and I want you to know that the person that wrote it's a good friend of mine. She's the daughter of the editor of the book you're reading, and I want you to read to you two things. One, she wrote at age 15, and then in retrospect, looking back at age 19. She's listed in the book as one of our contributing authors. Her name's Laura Klink. I want you to hear these strong words. I constantly crave exercise, she wrote at 15. Just a few months ago, I spent every hour of the day exercising. Most evenings, I could hear my family laughing as they watched movies downstairs in the living room. I was always on the verge of crying because I missed being able to sit there with them. No matter how badly I wanted to go and relax with them, I didn't have a choice. I had to stay thin. The hours would grow later, everyone would go to bed, and I would continue to exercise late into the evening in my room. I worked out until I collapsed on my bed, then I'd sleep for 4 or 5 hours and get up and work out again. I'd hide food in my pockets at meals, stand up in class, or skip class altogether to exercise. When I was forced to sit, I would hold myself up on my legs so I was not touching the seats. I felt a sick satisfaction with my disintegrating body. After being sent away for 3 months at the Remuda Ranch Treatment Center in Arizona, I had to repeatedly ask myself one question. If I spent the rest of my life feeding these obsessions, losing my relationships, my personality, my health, my lifelong sport, gymnastics, and everything else in my life, would I die thinking at least I had a thin body? With each day that passed, the behaviors seemed more and more irrational. Although I still crave my eating disorder horribly, I feel like I'm in the process of finding my life again. I love being kissed goodnight and then actually going to sleep. This little girl I knew from the time she was born. She's a great kid. You'd want your kids hanging out with her. And yet somehow this crept into her life, this feeling that she wasn't good enough or that she was a little bit too heavy. This is a girl that was a level 8 gymnast. And by the way, level 10 is college gymnast. This girl is beautiful, good parents, and somehow this crept into her life. Now listen to what she said at age 19. I originally wrote an excerpt for this book 5 years ago when I was 15. At that time, I was fresh out of treatment for anorexia nervosa and hoping that this new life free from the control of my miserable and tormenting eating disorder meant the end of my worst problems. Unfortunately, I was terribly wrong. The need for my eating disorder and inability to restrict my exercise led to a horrific chain of destructive habits, beginning with methamphetamine addiction, followed by purging and laxative abuse, then alcohol, and then heroin addiction. 7 months ago, I overdosed shooting up heroin and may have died had I not been in a public bathroom where I was found in time. The reason I'm sharing this in a section about eating disorders is because how closely my eating disorder and substance addiction are related. Low self-esteem, relentless self-criticism, and especially anxiety are the roots of everything I went through. One of the things I believe is most important is to understand is to never ignore what seems like a small issue, such as anxiety, because such problems are what lead to life-threatening obsessions and addictions. Most importantly, whatever your problems are, I believe nobody should ever give up on themselves or their lives. I know I never will. The point of this is that if you're suffering with some low self-esteem, if you criticize yourself or you don't feel you measure up, get some help because it'll lead to more serious problems. And by the way, I'm happy to tell you as we record this, that this young woman has celebrated over 300 days of sobriety, went through a court-ordered program, and is successfully now attending college, working and making something of her life. Never ever give up on yourself because with help, with people that love you, you can make your life better no matter how hard it is now. But you've got to find hope. If we can help you do that, our addresses and resources are listed in this book. You let us know.
For more information, contact the National Eating Disorder Association at www.nationaleatingdisorders.org or 1-800-931-2237.